headlines coming out this week from top retailers, Disney and Netflix. We're going to get right into it with the host of Wise Guys, John Tabacco. John, great to see you. And wow, beautiful day where you are. You can see the water in the background. So I hope you're going to go enjoy that weather right after this. I want to kick it off here. Top retailers right now, Target, Nordstrom, they're bracing for severe loss of profits, and a lot of that is due to increased shoplifting that we've seen some of the stores pulling out of high crime areas like San Francisco. Give us the lay of the land here.
Well, you know, there's a correlation here, Kilmeny, between sanctuary cities, these blue cities with blue mayors and George Soros DAs, where they want to defund the police and set the criminals free. And those are usually metropolitan areas run by Democrats, and big box companies, big retailers like the CVSs and the Walmarts and the Targets of the world. That's where they want to be, where the big population is. And many of the companies, the big time companies, the Home Depots, the Lowe's, the Disneys, they're all talking about this economy getting worse as we get through 23. So aside from Fed and monetary policy trying to shrink the workforce and suck money out of the money supply to slow down spending and fight inflation, at the same time, while they're taking money out of people's pockets, the bad guys know they can go in and steal up to $1,000 worth of stuff. And it's starting to trickle down to where the retailers make their biggest buck in the metro areas of their sanctuary cities. They're losing business that way, too. So it's kind of like a double whammy effect, if you ask me.
I'm sure a lot of people are not happy about the fact that Netflix right now is cracking down on passwords, warning subscribers from sharing account information outside their homes. How much money is Netflix losing on this? I mean, there are a lot of families that they share different accounts. One family member is getting HBO Max, the other one's getting Showtime, the other's getting Netflix, Hulu, and but talk to me about how this is impacting Netflix's bottom line.
Well, look, I've been tracking Netflix and a number of other companies who exposed themselves as woke going back a couple of years ago, giving tens of millions of dollars to BLM, which now we know turns out to be an enormous fraud where they paid all their friends and bought large mansions, but gave very little to the causes which they were supposed to represent. And a lot of these same companies, Kilmeny, like Netflix, like Disney, they're into the ESG, the equity, social governance, the diversity, equity, and inclusion stuff. And I think overall Americans are kind of rejecting that, saying, hey, just like make us money. And if you go back over the last 18 months, Netflix stock is cut approximately in half since they started using their shareholders' profits for political activism. And I think that's going to continue. And actually, at this point, the fact that they're going to start shutting off multi-use passwords is going to have another significant effect to the downside on Netflix's profits. And, maybe in the long term, it'll come back. I'm not an investment advisor, but I think there's more pain ahead for them as they try to get this problem under control.
You mentioned Disney. Disney is starting a third round of layoffs this year, reportedly cutting more than 2,500 jobs, and it won't stop there. What's happening?
Well, look, this is across the board in America right now. You know, we talked about it many times. You have Jerome Powell out there for the last 6 or 9 months and saying that, to fight inflation, we have to use all these different weapons. One of them is to slow employment, because if they slow employment, then people have less money in their pockets. And, one of the guys that I look up to, Milton Friedman, put it very simple. Inflation can only be created in Washington because that's where they print the money. And inflation is from too many dollars chasing too few goods. And as the Fed policy is to slow down employment and slow down spending, that's trickling down into some of the traditionally most favorite places of families. I mean, I don't know how many Mickey Mouses walk around Disney World at one time. There's probably a lot of them, but there's probably going to be a shortage of Mickeys if they're cutting 1,500 people. So the house the mouse built is shrinking, at least.
Yeah. John, what's cooking on Wise Guys? Talk to us. What's your lineup tonight?
Well, tonight we got a great show, and thank you for bringing that up. 10 p.m. every Saturday night, we get to deliver our own special style of street news. I like to say we talk to regular people and make their views the news. But we're talking about the fallout from the Durham probe. You know, many of the things that Trump said, they tapped my phones, they spied on me, they tried to fake the impeachment on me, the hoax. It turns out the Durham report kind of confirmed all that stuff. And we asked regular people in the streets this week, like, what do you think? Who do you think the deep state is? Do you feel better or worse about our federal law enforcement? And we also were lucky enough to get a few minutes with America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani, and he weighs in with a very unique perspective on the Durham report and what may or may not come out of it and how it'll affect public sentiment.
All right. Sounds like a great lineup. John Tabacco, appreciate you being here. Be sure to check out John's show, Wise Guys with John Tabacco, every night, Saturday night, 10 p.m. right here on Newsmax.